This is CNN Breaking News.
Let's get you back to our breaking news here of the 7.1 earthquake that's just hit Mexico. This is central Mexico, 75 miles away from the capital city of Mexico City. So let's go straight to Leila Santiago, who is actually in Puerto Rico covering this incoming hurricane. But you live in Mexico City. You know Mexico City. This is the second powerful earthquake to hit around this region in 2 weeks.
Right, Brooke. Actually, I just got off the phone with the president's office, and they tell me that the president of Mexico was en route to Oaxaca, sort of closer to the southern end of the country, and he was on his way there to continue to give follow-up to victims of the last earthquake there that claimed more than 90 lives at last check. So this is a series of earthquakes now, or at least multiple earthquakes now having an impact in Mexico. Now, the difference is this one's a little closer to Mexico City. Mexico City, big city. And I just, when I talked to one of the officials from the president's office, he was even a little shook up. He tells me that people are still trying to get a hold of family members to make sure they know where everyone is. When I asked him how he was doing, he was in shock. So Mexico obviously is very aware of earthquakes. In the 1980s, there was an earthquake that really actually kind of even changed the infrastructure of Mexico City. This earthquake hitting much closer to that than less than 2 weeks ago when it hit in Chiapas and had a big impact on the southern end of the country. So it's too soon to tell what the injuries may be, what the damage is. But in my call to the president's office, they say that will be next. It will be damage assessment. The president turned, he was en route to Oaxaca, turned around to head right back to Mexico City to tend to the needs there that will be great from what I'm hearing and the few people that I've been able to get a hold of in Mexico City after this 7.1 earthquake, Brooke.
We're working the phones as well. Leila, thank you so much. Again, 7.1 magnitude earthquake hitting central Mexico, according to USGS. The depth of the quake, almost 33 miles. A freelance journalist who works for CNN was driving in Mexico City, even felt shaking in the city, and that was 75 miles away. We're going to stay on this and try to get some folks on the phone who felt it. Stay with me. You're watching CNN. All right, if you are just joining us, let me just set up what we've been covering here. This is breaking news out of central Mexico, about 75 miles south of Mexico City. We are just now getting in all these different feeds from different affiliates around Mexico of exactly what just happened, this 7.1 magnitude earthquake that has just rocked the central part of the country, including this video. Let's cue it up, guys, of this building totally collapsing. Watch it again. You see it? Wait for it. The earthquake hits, and in seconds, it is gone. 7.1 magnitude. We know that the Mexican president tweeted, "I've called a meeting for the National Emergency Committee to evaluate the situation, to coordinate any actions." Plan has been activated. He said he was on a flight to Oaxaca, and now he's going to immediately reroute and head back to Mexico City. Allison Chinchar is in the CNN Severe Weather Center. We were, talking so much about hurricanes before, but all the focus on the 7.1 magnitude out of Mexico and the videos. I mean, that building collapse is stunning.
Yeah, so let's take a look at where the earthquake is, okay? It's this orange dot that you can see here. That was the epicenter of the quake. 7.1 magnitude quake, a depth of about 51 kilometers, or give or take about 32 miles deep. In the scope of earthquakes, that is relatively deep, but not deep enough that it wouldn't cause significant damage in some of these regions, especially the closer you are to that epicenter point. For reference, here is Mexico City. here is the epicenter. All of this yellow color that you can see here, that's what we call the shake map. Those are people in those communities that could feel the earthquake. So again, here is a look. This epicenter is about 75 miles southeast of Mexico City, just for some reference. Here's the epicenter, here's Mexico City. See all these communities around here that had some type of minor damage. They could feel it. And in some cases, yes, we've had moderate to even major damage in some of these communities. Now, also keep in mind, just about 2 weeks ago, Mexico just had an 8.1 magnitude quake. Thankfully, not in this same region. That earthquake was about a little bit farther south and east of where this particular quake was located. But you have to look, this is a very heavily populated region. Again, Mexico City is one of the most densely populated cities in the world. So obviously this is going to affect pretty high population. Here's a look. At least 28 million people felt some type of weak shaking with this earthquake. You've got about 20 million that felt some type of moderate shaking. And you've got about 1.5 million that felt very strong shaking. And that's the number that you really focus on for a lot of your significant damage that you would have, perhaps where you saw the building, or even in some areas where you just have rubble or debris lying in a lot of the streets, Brooke.
All right, Allison, stand by. I've got Adrian Wilson on the phone now, photographer from New York City, now in Mexico City, about 75 miles away from the epicenter of this quake. Adrian, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, I understand you were having lunch, and then you felt the rumble.
I was literally reading about Donald Trump at the UN, thinking, wow, missiles, World War III, all the rest of it. And then I just felt this tremor. But really, I'm a New Yorker. It just felt like a dumpster going over a manhole cover. And then it just kept amplifying. And all of a sudden, I'm in this giant earthquake.
How long, just staying on the earthquake, please, how long did the rumbling or the shake last?
It was about 20 seconds, and it just kept increasing. Up to quite an intensity. All the room was shaking, all the glasses, the doors were shaking everywhere. I don't know if you can hear outside, but there's still pandemonium outside. There's military vehicles around, helicopters flying overhead. The Mexicans, believe it or not, had a siren practice at 11 o'clock this morning. So literally an hour before the earthquake, everyone did the thing for real. So everyone was really organized, went outside, and all the traffic stopped, etc. But where I'm in Polanco, nothing collapsed. But even though it seemed like, really, really great sort of experience, you realize that I don't know if people have died or certainly got injured from the images that I've seen around the city.
Yeah, we don't know about fatalities yet, but looking at some of these pictures, we saw a number of people being treated who were clearly in the range of the quake zone. Just last quick question, Adrian. What was the reaction in the cafe where you are in Polanco once everything started rattling? Did people understand what was going on?
I just went straight outside. So I did. My son laughed at me, obviously, for taking a video rather than going straight outside. But I went straight outside, and everyone, as I say, was just in their safe zones. They have all the safe zones marked outside every building. People are kind of taking it in their stride, but as I say, we didn't have all the kind of horrific scenes that I've seen in the rest of the city here. So we're really lucky.
Yes, you are indeed a whopping 75 miles away, and just south of you is where this 7.1 magnitude earthquake hit. Adrian, thank you so much for jumping on the phone with me from Mexico City. We're getting some more information, some more pictures, grabbing more voices. Quick break, more on the breaking news out of Mexico after this.